Hello, my name is Abby and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. After I won the Ferrari 458 review, I like to mix things up and to start the GT1, the GT Advanced series. In order to win this series, I have to win 5 medals, and here my biggest concern is, however, that all those races are 8 laps races, so they are really long races, and I'm not so happy about participating in long races, but well, at some point I have to complete the GT1 series in order to unlock all the other GT series, and so, without any further ado, start engine! Alrighty then, here we are at the Nürburgring, and I'm driving a BMW Z4 GT3. I think I never drove this car before, so I'm really excited to find out what this car is capable of. And so, without any further ado, let me jump into the car, close the door, and get ready for this 8 laps race. And oh dear, the sound of the car is more like the sound of a vacuum cleaner and not of a race car, but oh well. I think it will get the job done, and here, as usual, I am concerned about the first turn. Oh dear. I don't think that this will end well. Please don't murder me, Oh dear. Alright. Oh wow, and the car has really... Well, there are some issues with the weathability. But the handling is nice. The handling of the downforce of this car is fantastic. That's great. That's really amazing. And here, I never drove this car before. I haven't done any practice, so it's really the first time that I'm now sitting in this race car. And I think this is really what is so interesting for me, completing or participating in the career mode of Assetto Corsa, because here all the time I am driving a different car, and yeah, I don't do practice in order to prepare a race or so. I just start the race event and start to learn the race car, and that's fantastic. That's really fantastic. The brakes are also amazing, and I think I can drive flat out through this one turn, but I think I have to get used to the gear ratio of this car. I think I have to shift down a bit more, because you really have to be in high RPMs for this car to have really a lot of power, and maybe I have to shift down to second gear more often when driving this car. So I have to see. I'm still learning this car, and yeah, 8 laps race. That's crazy. It's really crazy. The brakes of this car are fantastic. The brakes of this car are really fantastic. Wow. Okay, I have to get used to the brakes of this car, that it can brake so late. I am still used to... Oh dear. I'm still used to the brake performance of the Ferrari, and so I still have to get used to this, but I think over time I will get used to the car, and once I'm happy with the car and once I really know how to properly drive this car, I will have to change to a different car. And yeah, that's all the time the same, but that's really what is so interesting about the career mode, as yeah, there is so much to explore, so much to experience, and so much to learn, and that's really fantastic. Alright. I wonder if the 2 cars ahead of me are more or less in the same league or so, because they seem to be really fast and it's really hard to get closer to them. I'm not quite sure, maybe they are more or less out of the league or so. Okay, I know that I can brake really late, so let's try it over here. Yeah, I can brake even later. Alright, that's fantastic. Cool. Really cool. Alright. Yeah, I think most of the turns where I'm used to use the third gear, I can use the second gear for this car. Oh well, maybe I can be a little bit faster because this car has really an amazing downforce, but I'm not so sure about this. Okay, and this was more or less spot on. That's fantastic. Okay, how are we doing? Well, it's not the right time to find out how we are doing. First I have to get through those narrow turns. Alright, so we are on third and lap 3. Oh dear. Lap 3. Yeah, this is exactly what I was concerned about as I saw the race configuration of the GT1 series. 8 laps. 8 laps is really a bit much, and it's not as crazy as those 20 laps races, or what was the one craziness with the how were they called? Abarth. Formula Abarth, yeah, indeed. With the Formula Abarth, this was really crazy, but yeah, even 8 laps races are way too long. I think 6 laps is really the longest it should be, at least. Well, if I wouldn't do this for a video series, I think I wouldn't mind to have all the long races, but I'm still not quite sure. I mean, Nexus wrote some comments that he really likes endurance races, and so he was quite happy as I did this 120 laps race, but yeah, in general I'm not quite sure if those endurance races are really interesting, and I even have the feeling that at some point I ran out of things to talk about, and yeah, in the case of a good race where I'm leading the race, or in a scenario like this scenario over here, that I'm ahead of most of the field, but there are 2 cars that aren't in my league apparently, and yeah, I think it can become a little bit boring because there is not so much going on, and this is probably one of the main reasons why I'm not so happy about endurance and long races. But well, in order to proceed with the career mode and in order to unlock all those other series, I have to complete at least 5 races to win 5 medals, and then I hope the other GT races will be a bit shorter and I don't have to compete in those very long races. And yeah, it's really crazy. The first 2 cars are just pulling away. I think they are really a different class also. I'm not quite sure what the developers were thinking as they created the And they created the career mode because it's really a bit strange having sometimes to compete against cars that have an incredible performance or that are not in your league. And so yeah, I'm not quite sure what the, oh yeah, it was too late, or can I? Almost too late. So I'm not quite sure what the purpose of this is, because it's a little bit strange. I mean, I'm sure I could be a lot of faster, but I'm not sure if I can be that fast as those drivers are. And yeah, I haven't increased the strengths of the AI. They are still on 85%, so I think they just driving a different car, and I even don't see first place. I can more or less keep up with second place, but I don't see first place anymore. Second place is rarely shown on the track map, and first place is completely gone. So I'm excited to see at the end of the race what type of car first place was driving, because that's really strange. I mean, this is basically, yeah, in this race you have no chance to win anything else than a bronze medal, and I don't know, I don't feel so good about this. Yeah, I don't even see a dodge or a moving dodge in front of me on this long straightaway, so I have no idea where first place is. And that's a little bit weird, especially when you call something a GT series. You would expect that all the cars are more or less equal, which is definitely not the case. So I'm not sure what they were thinking, and yeah, in general, I think the whole career mode is a little bit derpy, and it's, well, I'm not quite sure what they really were thinking, because often it makes no sense. Sometimes you have a championship, then after a championship you suddenly have just single events. You have a GT series which more or less suggests the idea of having a championship, and it's just single events. And yeah, so I'm not quite sure what exactly they were thinking as they designed this. But oh well. Alright, over time I start to get used to this car. But yeah, they must be completely out of a different league or so. That's crazy. Alright. Lap 7. Finally we are getting closer to the end of this race. That's good, that's really good. And then I think there's a second race with the BMW Z4 if I remember correctly, which is pretty nice because now I start to get used to this car. But on the other hand, if there are once again the same drivers and the same cars involved, then I'm not quite sure if this makes really sense, because then the only thing I can win would be the bronze medal again. And yeah, that's really weird. And now I don't even see the second place. Oh, there's still a moving dot, there's still second place, but yeah, I can't catch this guy anymore. And I don't think that I ever had the chance of catching this guy. Alright. Wow, that's incredible. It's so crazy. All right. Last lap, finally last lap. This is good. This is really good. And I think I am getting used to the strange perspective because, yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm sitting a little bit too low or so, but it's really hard to look out of the window, and especially in those narrow turns, it's sometimes really hard to see where I am, and that's a little bit problematic, but over time I think I got used to this, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, 8 laps, that's really a long time. Oh dear. Right. And yeah, it's really amazing to be able to drive through this turn flat out without any problem. That's really amazing. It really speaks for the car and really speaks for the downforce of this car, which is fantastic. And yeah, finally. Finally, this race is over. Wow, it was really a long race, that's crazy. Third place, session over, yeah indeed. Now I'm really excited to find out what... Okay, for some reason a McLaren MP412C GT and a BMW M3 GT2 are part of the race. So, wait, fourth place is also a McLaren MP4. This is weird. That's really weird. But yeah, especially the BMW M3. I'm not quite sure if this is really the same class. So that's interesting. That's really interesting. And yeah, okay, it's time to get back to the menu and to see what the next race is. And so let me do this. Alright, I have just checked the length of the recording and wow, those 8 laps races are really long races, and in this case I think we are now at the end of this episode. Apparently it will be only one race per episode during the GT1 series, but that's alright, I think it will be still very interesting. And so yeah, thank you so much for watching, I hope you will be joining me for the next race. Until then, my name is Abby, see you! Thank you.